of the story Tom, partially because of the story that Tom just told about some women, like some men or guys, whatever, uh, get chased out of the game because of the physicality. And I don't think the female game suffers one iota from their current status, where there is, of course, a tremendous amount of physical play, but no, I'm going to kill you first with a body check mentality. I think it's I think it's going to be detrimental to the women's game. So I'd be interested in Sammy's thoughts, and of course everyone else's as well, because I just think it's a mistake. I don't think it's necessary, and I love the game the way it is and how it slightly differentiates itself from the men's game.
I think, Tim, it'll be really interesting to see how the enforcement of it, because there is no open ice hitting and there is simply board on board contact. So I'd be curious to see if it really changes it from the international game, or if it keeps it sort of more in line and gives the referee more of a description of what black and white is. Because that's the real struggle, right, in women's hockey, is what gets called in certain games. If they push towards that way to determine a real black and white, I like it. But to your point, I think that I don't love, what I love about women's hockey right now is that you can be 5'3" or 6'3" and excel. And I don't necessarily want it to move to a area where it is limited by your body composition. I want it to be more of a skill game, but that's my personal preference. But with no open ice hits, I don't think there will be as much emphasis on size. I just think it'll maybe, because it is a big ice surface, allow for a little bit more battle on the boards. So what do you think about that, Tim?
Well, I'm not. I guess I'm not sure. Like, I'm not as in the know. It was like I haven't read anything about. All I know is they're adding body checking. And so,
yeah, so it is body checking, but only on the boards.
Okay, so how is that not going on right now? That's the
thing, is maybe it just allows referees to have more of a black and white. Is yes, if the person has the puck, you can hit them on the boards and try to get the puck off of them, but you can't open ice hit them. Mm-hmm. So well, I don't know.
Sir, what I saw in that Canada-US game is it was a one-on-one. I think it was an American coming down the ice, and the Canadian girl played her absolutely perfect and blocked her, because otherwise you would have to get out of her way and give her a breakaway, and she got a penalty for checking. And I think that, whatever the rules are, they've got to,
Well, Tom, you've coached women's hockey for long enough to know that the rules are different every game you go into. I don't think that the refs have
men's game too.
Yeah, but the refs are, much to what other people might say, very intelligent people. And it's not like they are trying to do a disservice. It is simply, I think there's very much a gray area right now that's hard to call. Simply difficult.
It was really rough along the boards. Like, I thought that was as much hitting as there is in the NHL.
Yeah.
People taking people out, and Howie worked on it a lot, driving the knee behind and the hand and the hip and stuff like this. But that was amazing, that call there. I'm thinking, well, what's she supposed to do? Step out of the way and say, okay, good luck, goalie.
Well, I've thought about this over the years. Quite frankly, the game should be based on body contact. When you use the term body checking, that's one thing. When you use the term hitting, that's unacceptable, because that's the vocabulary of that has a connotation. I believe the judgment by the referee has to be understood by the players and the coaches. The degree of force and the intention. And the refs make a call according to that. And there are times it'll be a little more aggressive than others. But if you're doing it, trying to get possession of the puck, your force isn't excessive, it's the right amount of force, you don't call that penalty that Tom talked about. And if the definition and interpretation of the event, it just requires that, the degree of force and the purpose. Ask the question when you make the call, and you can get reflexively, you can make those calls reflexively. Over time, everybody agrees with them because I just believe the NHL game, Tim, it's more like the female game in terms of skill and the skill and execution they have. Hitting has been reduced substantially. It used to be quite violent, and now I like the way they play physically. Now, I don't know that the women would get that physical, but I thought the male game is coming more towards the female game in terms of the appreciation of the puck and trying to gain possession and the respect for the players. So that's just my 2 bits worth on that one.
I'd just like to make a comment of the Stanley Cup final there. I think the hardest hit in the entire series was when Stamkos hit McKinnon head on. And I loved the way they both responded. They both went flying. They both got up. Neither one whacked each other, said a thing. They both got up and hit as hard as they could, to go help in the zone. And, just want to comment there.
Good one. Good comment.
We are both friends, Wally, that the NHL game is kind of a better game in that way now. It's not quite as violently physical. It's obviously still physical, but there are certainly many people in the hockey world that think it's going in the wrong direction and there's not enough hitting in the game. But I would agree with you that I think they've found sort of a good level where the game is still very physical, but there's not as much focus on creating intimidation through physicality. There's still an element of that, and many people think there's not enough of that element anymore. But and Tom's point is a good one, that in some ways we're seeing more maturity from the players, where hey, it's a good hit, let's shake it off and go about our business, instead of back in my day, if you lowered the boom on somebody and it was a perfectly legal, well executed hit, you'd have 3 people circling and ready to beat the crap out of you. And I never understood that mentality where, hey, I hit somebody cleanly, fairly, legitimately, and I'm going to get pounded into submission for it. That element is kind of gone from the game largely. Although if you see Connor get hit in a legal, forceful manner, I'm sure you might see the same kind of reaction. But it's interesting that it may be that Sweden is trying to clarify, but I think it kind of sends a bit of the wrong message, unless their marketing and communication is a lot clearer about what they're trying to do. Again, bad on me for maybe not having the information, but it just took me.
Yep. Tim, can you ask Peter Elander? He's from Sweden, coaching female hockey, what he thinks about it?
Yeah, we can. I'll try to get him to come on. Maybe not next week, since you're not gonna be on, but we'll try to get him on maybe sometime next month, and we could talk about it again. It would be interesting.
Well, I have to go out and check on the boys that are moving dirt